Continuing on from our start of the day of the 5th of December, 1972, I was in the airplane and cranked the engines already, and we were about to taxi out. Prior to starting the engines, traffic brought out some passengers from the site there on the other side of the ramp. And these were embassy wives and USAID wives that were going down to Udon, Thailand to do some shopping, either in the PX or they might even go downtown and do a little shopping in the Thai markets there. But it was a nice bunch of gals, but as we got off the ground and headed down towards Udon, did not climb up at all because there's no hostile environment between Vientiane and Udon. Stayed down around 1,500 feet and left the cockpit windows open. Now in 123s, the airflow in the cabin is from the rear to the front. So everything that's reeking in the back of the airplane comes right up to the cockpit. Well, there was no reek today, but one of the gals had obviously bought a lot of perfume and had used it liberally, which is kind of pleasant, but it would probably mask other things. Once I got onto the ground in Udon, taxied up to the ramp on Air America side and offloaded the passengers. Shut the airplane down and we refueled it all the way up to the top. I needed all of this extra fuel to fly down to Pak Se, not just for that trip, but for trips the next day or perhaps that day to go out and airdrop, and would save a little time. Cranked her back up, taxied down to what they called Pepper Grinder. Pepper Grinder was a site that was not on the main ramp or anything else. They let this site off to the side in its PSP, mainly because it contained all kinds of things that would blow up or do something evil, and they didn't want this thing to self-destruct on an area where it would damage the airbase itself. And there was cute signs down there that the people that worked in Pepper Grinder would put out, "Doomsday cards accepted." You have a crispy critter napalm available here, and all sorts of macabre things like that. Well, got down there and their forklift promptly shuttled up to the back of the airplane as I shut down and had pallets of munitions. As it was loaded, I took a look at what they're putting on this airplane, and I was going to have about 16,000 pounds of this stuff. And it was small arms ammunition, claymore mines, mortar rounds, all first line expendables. This means they were using this stuff to repel people that were very close to wherever their site was. So this meant that it was going to be a hot area, and I suspected that was what was going to be involved down there anyways. We had just lost a caribou down there, got shot down, and the entire crew was killed. And it wasn't too far from where I suspected they'd have me going too. So we unloaded that stuff and took off out of Udon, heading for Pak Se in southern Laos on the banks of the Mekong River. This long trip did not involve any hazardous areas because they're going to be flying mainly over Thailand. And when we leveled off, and I gave the controls to the co-pilot and told him just hold this heading and I'm going to go back and see what the load looks like. Well, that was kind of a ruse to get to talk to the kickers. Sampap and Buma, two Thais. And Sampap was my main man. I really enjoyed him. And we sat there and talked a little bit, and the caribou that had been shot down had on board one of the Thai kickers, Sudi, and it was a good friend of Sampop's. And I asked him what was going to happen to Sudhi's farm, because I'd bought turkeys and other things from him before. And he says he was going to take it over, going to buy it from Sudhi's widow and do the same thing. And I said, well, keep me in mind whenever you got a good-looking chicken or goose. I'm always in the market for something tasty. And we kind of laughed about that, but back up to the cockpit. And now we were getting within range of Pak Se, and called a tower, and they simply cleared me to land. But they also advised me that one side of the runway was under construction and was torn up, so you only had half the width of the runway to land on. Well, in the C-123, it's a narrow landing gear right in the fuselage, so it wasn't anything that would be a problem with the landing on that. And I did, landed and taxied back up to the ramp, and on the ramp there was also some of our H-34 choppers, Air America choppers, that were been servicing some of these fire bases out there in the Plateau de Boulevans. Plateau de Boulevans was a high mesa, and it was kind of like a table up there, but it was several miles round, and it contained several strips that we used to land in at the time before the enemy really started ingressing into the area. Once on the ground and onto the operations building, got to see the customer there. Well, there was two customers. One was called Tall Man, for obvious reasons, because he was tall, and Gray Fox, mainly because he had gray hair. He was the older of the two. Tall Man was a relatively new guy in the area, and Gray Fox was there more or less to supervise him, and I could also get some clues of when he was lying to me, but from Gray Fox, because he'd kind of roll his eyes if he's saying something that wasn't true. But in operations, there was a bunch of chopper pilots there, and getting briefed on what they were to do, and they were going to go into two sites up in the Plateau de Boulevans, and there was also one of the porter pilots from Continental Air Service there, and they finished a briefing, and I said, well, where do you want me to go? And a tall man replied, not today. We're going to hold off to airdropping to your sites until tomorrow. You'll spend the night down in the hostel here in town. We're also going to offload your airplane and put all the munitions in a bomb dump, just in case there's problems out here and it won't make a big bang with the airplane if it gets hit. Okay, and the rumor had it that the Pak Se had the possibility of having some terrorist attacks in it. Well, got the crew, and we all headed for the hostel. That is one of the places that the company rented a house. And when we got to this hostel, instead of having the gate open and just nothing in the courtyard, hey, the whole place had been sandbagged, the walls around it sandbagged, and there was a sentry post there, and with a rifle. And he allowed us to go in, of course, and once in the hostel, we had nothing but cots to sleep upon, and all the chopper pilots were in there too. Well, in the living room there was an old Playboy magazine that somebody had snuck under the seat cushion, and I had a good idea who it was. There was also a Loach there, which was a Hughes 500, and it had a quiet kit on it, which meant that they were going into some of the bad areas stealthily. And I liberated this Playboy magazine and went through that and hid it in another spot, so that whoever thought he had sole possession of it would be greatly disappointed and be howling. But after supper, retired to the bunks there and spent the night quietly before the sun rose in the morning. Thank you.